The written word is an incredible thing. I am not as much of a reader as I would like to be, but I definitely have a bunch of quotes in my mind that have completely changed me, or just changed how I look at the world and changed how I look at the life. And I want to talk about 3 of those quotes today. So sit back, relax, and let's dive right in, baby. Yeah. Splash. I have had so much coffee today. That's not even true. I've only had one energy drink. But man, did it get the job done. No, I've been singing in my car. So maybe that's why I sound a little hoarse all day, and it just feels good to just let it out. But hello. Welcome back to my channel. I use this channel to talk to myself with you, and in hopes of learning more and more about myself. And if you learn a little bit about yourself in the process, that's pretty great. Do you ever, this is not anything related to my quotes at all, and I'll dive right in as soon as possible. I promise you just sit there. You just sit there and you just be a little patient. You just build some little patience, please. But do you ever pick at scabs or just poke a wound? God, I was listening to so many songs that make me cry, or just, songs that I have very specific memories of people with. And yeah, I decided today, I was like, I'm just gonna, every time it happened, I would hit myself in the chest, be like, let's do it. Come on. Let's test that out. Let's hurt myself today. Or just cut open that wound. Yeah, I was doing that. And it was good. It was cathartic, really. It felt nice. So I kind of recommend it. Give it a try. See how it feels. But let's dive in. Basically, I want to talk about these quotes, and then I want to just sort of interpret the quote and then talk about how it has changed my life or changed how I think about my life. So let us begin. The first one is "You Are Not Your Mind" by Eckhart Tolle. How I interpret this quote is we are more than our thoughts, and we can become the observer of those thoughts and just see them as they pass and not attach any of our identity or any meaning to them whatsoever. And so we don't have to become a victim to our own thoughts and think, because we think these bad things or have these horrible, terrible thoughts, that we're bad people or I'm a bad person because I have these bad thoughts. But if I attach my identity to my thoughts, then yeah, sure. But because I am not my thoughts, I'm something more. I don't have to judge myself when I have those bad thoughts. Now, thoughts and actions are different. And so having a thought and then acting on that thought may make me a bad person. But if I only have a thought that I deem bad, but don't act on it, then maybe I'm not a bad person at all. And this quote gives me peace. It's given me peace of mind, peace that it doesn't make me this bad person, and peace that I can also release and relax my attachment to my own thoughts, because I have so many thoughts during the day. And if I continually try to attach any meaning to all of my thoughts, then I'll start to lose sight even more of myself. And it has allowed me to change my perspective in terms of like a meditation or meditative thoughts, in that the metaphor that I really like, or the 2 metaphors I really like, are thinking about thoughts as clouds passing in the sky or leaves drifting across on a river. And I'm kind of just sitting on that riverbank watching those leaves go by, and those are all of my thoughts. And so I don't have to attach a meaning or who I am to that thought. I am not the leaf on the riverbank. I am something that is observing those leaves as they pass. And it's given me a lot of peace. Next quote. So the next quote, this is actually a double whammy, sneaking an extra one in there. So it's 4 quotes to live by. But they're both by the same person, so I'll lump them together into one. And it's by one of my favorite teachers, Ram Dass, or thought leaders, thought people, whatever you want to call him, spiritual leader, Ram Dass. Yes, and if you don't know who Ram Dass is, look it up, look him up, do yourself a favor. He's really, really great. I know more about him than I do Eckhart Tolle, so brief little history. Born Richard Alpert. He was working a lot with Timothy Leary in Harvard in the 60s with psilocybin and LSD, and was really on the forefront of psychedelics as medicine and psychedelics in terms of growth. And so lost his job at Harvard because of that, and then went to India, found a guru there named Maharishi, I believe, and completely changed his whole trajectory, and then came back and started sharing a lot of the Eastern practices that he learned there with the West, and really was at the beginning of the sort of spiritual movement of the 60s in the West. Now, obviously, he took a lot of teachings and practices that have existed for thousands of years and just brought them to America. And super duper connective person, really, really just smart person, and was discovering that he was able to get to those same levels of euphoria that he was beforehand with LSD. And so, because he was able to get there through meditation and just through practice, he brought that information back to the United States and subsequently the world after that. But the two quotes he has that have really stuck with me are, "We're all just walking each other home." What I love about this quote is it is the connection and the reminder for me of how we are all connected. And ultimately, we all are just the same experience, just the same thing, just living in different experiences. So I am you living in this experience, and you are me living in this same experience. He kind of talks about these different levels of like the self, and then the us, and then the one. And so this understanding of we're all just walking each other home, that home is the great beyond, and home is where we were before we are here. And so when we die, we go back to that place. And it's our duty as people to walk each other there. What I love about that quote is that it just, reaffirms compassion and teaches me constantly to have empathy and compassion for people selfishly, because we are the same thing. We're just experiencing different bodies and different perspectives in this particular life or in this particular dance. And again, same like the first one, it does offer me peace of mind, because I know when I'm having a bad day, to get out of my own way and help someone else is a way of walking them home, and a way of receiving that help for myself. Because if we are the one, then to help them is to help me, and to help me is to help them. And and that sort of feeds into the next quote that I love from Ram Dass, which is, "Treat everyone you meet like they are God in drag." Now, this is a sensational take depending on your religious affiliation, but I think because we are all this one thing, that when we inhabit these bodies for this particular experience, we are all God living in through the experience of this person. And so God is inside of all of us. God is in us, and we are God, and we are God for each other. And so to treat everyone we meet like they are God in drag is to not take someone at face value, to embrace the complexity and nuance of the omniscience and totality of God, in that sometimes someone will really make me mad and really anger me and really say something that I disagree with. And even still, that is a manifestation of God in some way. And when I really am really good, when I'm really sort of locked in and really focused in on that perspective, it really helps me slow down and really helps me remind myself that, yeah, we're all one and we're all doing this together. And if you're doing it in a different way and it hurts me, it sucks and I just get so mad at it sometimes. But I this is my path in this world and in this life. So I am not telling you to do this, because if you are angry at the world right now, you are you are justified in that in some capacity. Now, what you do with that anger then tips the scales on whether or not I can really agree with you or disagree with you. Because again, so to attach it to, we're all just walking each other home. If you are angry in the world and then you lash out and actively hurt other people, you're not walking people home. And in fact, you're hurting yourself, because we are all one. We are all connected. And so then to hurt yourself by hurting someone else, you're only hurting yourself. And I think that's why people who are in pain, when you are hurting and then you seek to hurt someone else, or when you're in pain, or when I'm in pain and I lash out and say something that I don't mean, it never feels good. And I only ever hurt myself from that. But to treat everyone like God in drag, and it's a beautiful sentiment, because it's also silly. And Ram Dass was really silly, and I that's one of the things that I really do appreciate about him, was that I know I can be very serious about my spiritual practice, or very serious about just existing, because it's tough, but it doesn't have to be serious all the time. And definitely there are times where it should be serious, but then there are times where it shouldn't be serious either. Okay, this is a different one. Not on my list, but this is something that Steve Wang, by way of Jerzy Kachowski, was talking about, which is this paradox of seriously having fun. That's in reference to theater, but I think it's a great metaphor and aphorism for life of how do we seriously have fun in this experience. Because whether or not you believe in heaven, whether you believe in nothing, or we go back to something else, or we reincarnate and come back, whatever I am experiencing right now is the only time I'm going to experience this. And so I want to at least enjoy it a little bit, you know? Next quote. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, this one's fun. It's such a cliche quote, and I'm sure you've heard it before. It's attributed to Albert Einstein a lot, but when I was doing some research, it's actually not Albert Einstein who said this. It's sort of like a generalized saying that's been mythologized over time, but like the person who attributed it to Albert Einstein was his author named Matthew Kelly. But it's the everyone is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. This one, basically, I think I interpret this quote as we are all good at something. We're all really good at something. And if we are either internally judging ourselves or getting external judgment from something else entirely, we will always believe that we're stupid or not a genius. And yeah, I'm kind of really in the thick of it with this quote in terms of like how it is appearing in my life right now, because I am bouncing around with like trying to really answer that question for myself of what am I good at? I know I've talked about this before, and so I catch myself a lot of times really judging myself, and so feeling stupid because I'm not a good editor, or I'm not a good YouTube personality, or I'm not a good actor, or I'm not smart, or all these things that I sort of create judgment on. And that's a little different because I can always reframe my markers for success, and I can always just appreciate the process more than anything else. But how this quote has helped me, or how it has changed me, is also just to release judgment and foster curiosity. And so instead of judging someone for doing something that I think may not be right, I wonder what it is this person does that they are good at. And I hope that they take the time to like foster that in themselves. And so ultimately, I can flip that back and look at it and look at myself with that same curiosity of, yeah, I am judging myself in this thing of like, gotta produce, gotta make something, gotta like put my mark on the planet. Ah, gotta leave my footprint. And that leads me to judgment always. And so then instead of judging myself, I do want to be curious about what it is I am good at. And then who cares? And also, who cares? Like, live my life, you know? It's such a chicken or the egg, or like a catch 22 for me, because as soon as I start talking about judgment, I kind of open that box in my head and then I start to get really judgmental. Like I am fighting a lot of judgmental thoughts right now. And yeah, but I know that it's okay. Like it's all okay, and it's going to be okay. But yeah, those are the quotes that mean a lot to me. I hope you have quotes as well. I hope you have things, totems in this world that you can look to, be they quotes, be they paintings, pictures, movies, video games, TV shows, things that you can look to that have impacted you, to show us that we've grown and we've changed, to show us that we have grown and we've changed, and the things outside of us can impact us, and so that we can then make things that hopefully impact people. And I think that's all I got. I love you. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. You know you want to. I'll see you next time.